Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum. At b1bank.com.
From Mansour's on the Boulevard, we're out to lunch with Stephanie Regal. Stephanie Regal is a broadcaster and editor of Baton Rouge Business Report. It's business, Baton Rouge style.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Regal. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Like so many sectors of our economy today, the world of retail fashion has changed dramatically in the last 20 years, and yet the art of good salesmanship is something that never changes and continues to be the key to many a successful business. Hans Sternberg is an expert on this topic. For 30 years, he had a successful career in retail with his family's beloved department store, Gotcha's. Then in the early 1980s, he embarked on a second career with the creation of Starmount Life Insurance and Always Care Benefits. And now, at age 82, he's launched his third venture with High Flyer Resources, a benefits administration company. Though Hans's career path has been varied, he will tell you that the common thread connecting it all has been good salesmanship and good service. Hans, we look forward to hearing more about it on Out to Lunch. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Gotcha's was a retail fashion leader in Baton Rouge back in the day, as was Maison its sister store in New Orleans. Today, it's a challenge for many department stores to compete, but the brave new world of online shopping and digital retail has created all sorts of new opportunities for fashion bloggers like January Rizzo. She has an apparel design degree and worked in children's apparel before launching her own fashion blog, January Heart Rizzo, 2 years ago. It sounds like a great gig, January, and you'll have to tell us how you actually make money at it.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you so much.
Well, Hans, your story is legendary in Baton Rouge. Your parents escaped Nazi Germany when you were a baby, came here a few years later, bought Gotcha's department store and ran it successfully for many years until you and your brother took it over, and y'all really grew it and went on to acquire Maison Blanche in New Orleans. This was in the 1970s and 80s. It was so different back then. How have you seen things change over the years?
Well, the store, the brick and mortar business is dramatically different. Everyone is on the internet. They shop the stores, but not nearly as frequently as they did when I was running stores. So today, if I were doing it, I would have a lot of work to do on the internet. I would be looking for at least half of my business to come via that medium.
Sure. And you got out of it really before the advent of the internet, but it had even started to change in the early 90s, had it not? The department store business was feeling it.
We had a small internet presence.
Really?
We did, even in the late 80s, early 90s, but it was embryonic.
Sure.
That was, it was 2%, 5% of your business, not nearly where the emphasis of visiting the customer, seeing the customer.
Now, you were in business with your family, and then you and your brother ran the department store. What role did you play as compared to him?
Eventually, he came in 7, 8 years before I did, but eventually we were just equal partners.
Okay.
And we called ourselves co-chairmen.
Did you like being out on the floor and selling, or did you like managing the books in the back, or both?
Neither one of us were book people. We liked meeting the customer, talking to our staff, looking at what was happening on the floor, and making sure that was properly done.
Do you think retail is the kind of thing that you would have done if your family had not been in it, or did you just fall into it because that's how you grew up?
Well, it's how I grew up, since we had stores since the 1700s. I think the first family store was in 1739, before the American Revolution.
Wow.
And we had nurtured that and We were retailers. There's no question about that.
It was in your blood.
Yes.
While we're talking about the retail business, January, I want to bring you into the conversation because you're a fashion blogger, fashion and style, something that didn't exist back when Hans got into the retail business. It looks like a lot of fun, but I mean, the question is, how do you monetize something like that?
For me, a lot of that would come from commission from sales, links through sales, and would mostly be online, like he's saying. So much retail online now.
So it's not just getting advertisers onto your January Heart Rizzo site. It's
That's-
actually getting commissions from sales.
Well, that as well. I mean, obviously, companies contact me and other influencers to get their business out. You know, we kind of hone our following. We get a pretty good readership going, and companies contact us to hopefully join in with what we've got going. So,
And so how many followers do you have now?
well, I mean, the big one for us is Instagram. That's like the big, visual, especially for blogging.
Right.
So I'm at about 39,000 there.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah,
Are
it
they?
is.
Do you know where they're from? Are they local? Are they everywhere? Mostly
They're
in the South?
everywhere. They're
Really?
everywhere. They really are. They're from all over the world, actually. So it's a really neat. It's been a fun thing to
How
do.
do you get it started? How do you? Because it seems like once you got it going, the momentum is going to build.
Right.
But how do you
right.
become an influencer?
Yeah, it's tough. It just started, honestly, if I'm honest about Instagram. I mean, my background is in apparel design, so I've always
And
had
you
a
had your
love of
degree in that,
fashion.
right?
And I got a degree in apparel design from LSU. So that's always kind of been my passion, so to speak. So I don't know. I think at some point I started on Instagram with sharing daily outfits. There was a group of women on Instagram who would share their daily outfits, and everybody would kind of support one another and, oh, we love your looks today, whatever. And it just kind of grew from there. And I
Fascinating.
started the blog that
And
way.
then how do you decide what you're going to promote? Is
that-
it what you like, or do
Absolutely.
the stores bring stuff to you, or the
It's
manufacturers?
both. It's both, but you want to work with companies that fit your aesthetic, what your followers, your readers enjoy, as well as myself. I mean, I try to stay authentic to what I do.
And your followers, I would imagine they're mostly women. They're mostly young.
They are, you
Target
know.
demo 18 to 34 kind of thing.
Right, about 18 to 35 in that area. I've noticed I have a great viewership of men, though. I'm not sure. We have some men shoppers out there. I don't know if they're shopping for wives or whatever, but I noticed that on the blog. So
And then you take your own pictures, or someone takes pictures of you in the merchandise.
I have
or-
a photographer take pictures. My mother did it for a very long time, and she still does it with me. But I do work with photographers as well. Yes.
And you model the clothes. Do you have other
Yes.
models that do it, or is it pretty much you? It's a one-man band.
I'm a one-woman show, Yeah, just me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's working, though. I mean, you're generating enough revenue.
Yes, it's going well so far. So far, so good.
To fantastic.
I have a question.
Sure.
How much attention do you pay to the fashion magazines?
I love fashion magazines. I do. We pay quite a bit of attention. Yeah, we do. Probably not as much. I don't know how to explain that, but just more about the general feel of what women are into. A lot of online, really, is what I'm looking at mostly. But I do follow a lot of fashion magazines, yes.
I'm
Vogue, not as
looking-
much as I used to, but yes.
I'm looking for a common thread from the ancient days
Right.
to
Yeah,
today.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think celebrities have so much to do with
Well,
like
it seems like the
influencing all of
fashion
that.
magazines are so fashion forward.
Yeah, they
you know,
are.
and they're always a season ahead, and they're always a
right.
couple of years,
Right.
maybe 4 or 5 years before what we see in Baton Rouge, right?
Right.
Always
Sure.
have been.
Sure.
Always have been, and that must have been a challenge. Well, whether it's on a blog or in a picture window in a mall or along a busy thoroughfare, so much of what makes retail successful is the way it's sold. Was that true of insurance, Hans? And how did you grow Starmount Life Insurance coming from Gotchaw's?
Well, we had 640,000 charge account customers
At Gotchaw's.
at Gotchaw's. And so it was very easy for us to start marketing periodically, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, to our charge account customers and offering them an insurance product. And it worked.
Interesting.
Retail follows the flow. We're not inventors so much as we are accommodators. And the customers liked to buy insurance over their charge accounts, with their charge accounts. So that's how we got into it.
And then y'all evolved into specializing mostly, though not exclusively, in dental and vision care.
Good story with this. The people that we sold the department stores, and department stores went through a very tough time. A lot of them didn't make it. We were fortunate. We did make it, but we found that the customers stayed with us, and when we sold the department stores, we kept the insurance company. We simply,
Gotcha.
the buyer of the stores did not want the life insurance company.
Okay.
They were a little bit afraid of what they didn't know. So I volunteered to take it off their hands. They gave me the insurance company.
Wow.
Yes.
What a nice gift.
Yeah, that
It
is.
grew into a wonderful
Absolutely.
gift. Yes.
And so I didn't actually send a check or anything
You just got
for
it.
the insurance company. They just willed it to me.
And you all grew that company over the next 20 years. Your wife, your children, two of them joined you in the company
Yes.
over the years. And then earlier this year, you sold it to Unum, which is a major national insurance carrier. Why did you all decide to sell? Is the insurance business just too competitive today for a regional player?
You hit a major recession in the late 1980s. It was Desert Storm, the war in the Mideast, and finance just dried up. 4 of our 6 banks functionally disappeared, and it became prudent to find a buyer, and so that's what we did. And we were successful. We had 2 bidders, could have had 3 for the business, and we made a profitable sale.
Interesting. The market is very competitive today for insurance. It's very hard to.
Yes, but not as competitive as some of the other parts of our economy.
Right.
Not as competitive because you have to get registered, you have to have so much capital, you have to have standards, you report, if you're operating nationally, which we were in 49 of the 50 states, didn't want to go into New York.
Right.
You have to answer to all those regulators. Each one is a little different from the other, and so that makes it a very complicated industry.
Speaking of competition, January, what kind of competition exists in the world of style bloggers, and does that really matter? It's
Well-
not like do you compete for market share in the same way that a retailer would, for instance?
I mean, in some ways, yes, and in some ways, I'd say we mostly just support each other more than anything. Yes, a lot of us are up for a lot of the same opportunities, but it really helps. We've formed kind of a group of bloggers that, we share experiences and help each other.
Because it seems like if you like something and promote something from a fellow blogger, then they return the favor and send
Sure.
people who like the same kind of things as you. Maybe it's different than
Right.
Hans, who was competing with the department store down the street or the
Right.
insurance carrier across the road. Huh?
Right. No, I'd say a lot of times we join forces, bloggers. And it's just been a great thing.
Do you ever meet them face to face, or is
Yes,
it all online?
absolutely. Yes. I just met my first blogger friend this past summer, and I'm so sad I waited as long as I did because I've grown some great friendships from it. Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Stephanie Riegel. We're talking with January Hart Rizzo and retail legend Hans Sternberg, now of High Flyer Resources. Well, Hans, I know from previous conversations we've had that you like to advise young entrepreneurs and that you have mentored several people who have successfully grown companies. What advice, off the top of your head, would you have for someone like January who's launching a blogging business?
Watch your debt to equity. Make sure that you don't get over your heads in terms of what you have as demands on your capital. And as long as you watch that and keep your nose to the grindstone and watch the business, develop the business, it's going to be okay.
Right.
And that applies even in this digital realm. I mean, the same.
Especially in
Yes.
the,
Yes.
even more so than, but as much, certainly as much.
Do you see a time where you would grow this blog to have other people helping you, actually
Absolutely.
blogging
That's,
with you?
That's the goal.
Developing the
Yes,
content with you?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I'm hoping to in the next year, actually. It's a lot to handle, just trying to get content for the blog. The social media aspect of it is huge. That just kind of takes over the whole thing. You got to constantly be updating that, keeping that flowing to get your readers over to the blog. So yes, but yes, I'd love some help in that area.
How many years have you been doing it?
I think this is I'm going into 3 years, 3 or so years.
Fun time.
It is. It really just started out as a fun thing and learned we could kind of do something with this.
Sure.
So,
It seems like if you can survive the first year,
yeah.
then that
yeah.
and still be
Right.
making a living at it.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Hans, you have now launched a new business, a third venture that I mentioned earlier, High Flyer Resources. Tell us a little bit about it's a benefits administration company, why you decided to get into this realm, and why you decided to keep pushing yourself so hard instead of relaxing and kicking back and enjoying the fruits of your labor after selling Starmount.
Well, I don't play golf, so I would go crazy and my wife would probably poison my coffee if I stayed around the house all day. So in order to keep my sanity, I like to stay busy, and starting a new business will keep you busy.
No question.
We're doing a payroll processing business.
Okay.
So we can, because we are part of a network that services 2 million companies,
Wow.
2 million companies, we can bring economies to a payroll processing system that the individual company, the individual business cannot afford to do. So we save companies money, we make them, they don't have to read the Affordable Care Act because we read the Affordable Care Act.
Do y'all really?
No, not really.
But the software
but we have
did
a lot
or
of
something
input.
like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not that crazy. But when we go through COBRA and so forth, a lot of little rules that can trip up a person and can cost a lot of money in terms of fines, which the government, unfortunately, is very quick
Sure.
to assess. So.
And I mean, it seems like the regulatory environment today is so mind-bogglingly complex that there's more of a need for something like this than ever before.
And also, we consult with the companies, and it's just an add-on. We don't charge for it, but we consult with the companies who are our customers.
And so are these customers local in Baton Rouge? Are they regional? Or are you looking to go national with this?
My fastest growth right now is coming from Texas, as a matter
Really?
of fact. Yes.
Okay.
Faster than in Louisiana, but we're doing business in Louisiana, of course.
Are we talking small, medium-sized companies? I mean, the big ones, it would seem like they would have the in-house capability to
Yeah.
navigate regulatory.
If you have more than 1,500 employees, then you don't need us.
Okay.
But if you have less than 1,000, you certainly need us, and we will make you more efficient. If you're not doing, look, there are a lot of competition in my field.
There is.
So if you don't have to deal with us, there are a multitude of companies that do it, some less well than others. But if you get the right company, they'll make you better. And if you don't have a payroll processing entity, then you're not going to be cutting edge, and you're limiting your growth.
Interesting. And High Flyer basically sells and services a proprietary software that you all are licensed to deal. Do
Yes.
they help you market it or
Not a bit.
not a bit? So you're on your own in that regard.
Yes, we need people to help us market the product.
But for instance, you're able to sell it to clients in Texas. They don't have a dealer who has that Texas territory exclusively or
No,
something?
they don't have they don't give exclusive territories. So anyone can take this programming that we use and sell it in Louisiana, but we can sell it in Texas, Arkansas, California, and Oregon. So
Interesting. January, would it be easier for you, for instance, to do what you do in New York or in a larger market?
Oh goodness, easier? No.
No.
There's so much competition in somewhere like in New York, like you're saying. So that's why I love it here so much. I mean, it just you get some great opportunities here. I love the ladies. I've met so many great women running businesses here. So yeah, I love here.
I have heard that. I mean, that there's a lot of
Yes.
opportunity here because nobody
Yes,
else is
and
doing
that's
it.
growing
And I mean, that,
more and more. Yes.
what kind of changes, Hans, have you seen in the Baton Rouge business community over the years? Because I mean, I know you've been, very active in it over the years, and it has changed. I mean, it's traditionally been very slow, very conservative town, just in terms of lending money and investing and the whole mentality, but closed to outsiders. But is that changing?
gosh, I advise the few clients that I have, and I try not to have too many. I advise them that they've got to grow to survive. You cannot just tread water because things are changing. What's that? Bob Dylan's
Right.
the times they are changing. Well, they're really changing all the time,
Yeah,
and you
especially as
either
digital. I mean, you
you-
gotta keep up.
if you don't,
Crazy. Yeah.
you'll sink like a
That's
stone.
it. You're right. You're exactly right.
According to Bob Dylan. The things are always changing. We're constantly looking for the next good thing that we can do that will grow our business.
But do you think Baton Rouge as a whole is more open to new ideas and to outsiders than they used to be?
IBM has just come to Baton Rouge with a major presence. Yes, things are changing, and yes, you've got to be on top of it. January.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we may be kind of a small town, but we have really grown, I feel like, in the last 10 years.
One thing I hear a lot, you're
We're
talking
not
to
a
people.
small town.
Well, I mean, I always think of it
440,000
as,
people.
I don't know, a small.
What about the availability of startup capital? That's one thing that young entrepreneurs particularly complain about. And, I know we have now some angel networks that are starting to make their presence felt here, but it's still a problem, I
Right,
hear. I
right.
don't know. Have you felt that? Or have you even looked for?
I haven't personally.
We advise our clients on the consulting end of it. Get a business plan, make it a good one, and then apply for a loan. Even if you don't need capital, apply for a loan at a bank, a good bank, best bank you can think of, your bank, and tell them you want to borrow money. And then they will take your plan and tell you where you're wrong. And you'll get an education
Great
like you've
exercise.
never gotten
Right, oh,
before.
I'm sure.
And a humbling
Reality check,
experience,
right?
too, right?
So I think you should seek capital or know where you're going to go for capital, even if you don't need it today. But get vetted.
That's excellent
Right,
advice.
right.
What is the next step for both of you? Where does the blog go from here, January?
I continue putting out good content, hopefully growing that. I'd love to travel more with it, work with companies, going places to help promote businesses, and hopefully we just keep going from there.
What about High Flyer, Hans? What's the 5-year plan for that?
Well,
company?
a 5-year plan's very far out for a company that's not hardly a year old. We're going to grow it. We're going to be adding sales reps. We're going to be helping some of our clients divest. That's a big part of my consulting business. That's a profitable part of my consulting business. Helping them find out if they don't want to do the next stage, what to do and how to grow so that you can divest if that's what you
Divest,
want. Divest,
meaning?
sell.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so we're looking both to grow our inherent business and to help on the divesting where that is necessary for a client.
Excellent. And continue to grow nationally, regionally, wherever the business takes you?
Today, your business, if you are on the internet, you want to be national.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't need to be international. That's a whole different set of problems. And I would be very cautious about accepting business out of my own bailiwick, which is the 50 states. And it's easy to do, and it's easy to fall into the problems. I once bought some furs from a Korean. Now, I did a lot of international business.
Mm-hmm.
But what can happen to you is I once bought a group of furs from Korea, and they shipped me bricks and old newspapers after they had collected their money.
Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
wow. That's a good
So
story.
that can happen.
Yeah, so we'll stick with national,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Well, Hans Sternberg, it's inspirational to see someone with such drive and determination continue to forge ahead and achieve success. In January, it's equally inspiring to see someone with passion pursue their dreams. So
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much
being
for
with us
having
today
me.
on Out
Thank
to Lunch.
you.
My guests today on Out to Lunch have been Hans Sternberg of High Flyer Resources and fashion blogger January Hart Rizzo. You can find out more about High Flyer and January's blog by following the links on our website. It's batonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Today's show is recorded live over lunch at Mansur's on the Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Mansur's is open for lunch daily from 11 to 2, for dinner nightly, and for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our associate producer is Peter Raschuti. And our Baton Rouge business consultants are Charlie D'Agostino and Ann Edelman. You can see photos from this show on its batonrouge.la and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by Ken Stewart. All the music on Out to Lunch is composed and performed by Mitchell Foreman. You can find more of Mitchell's music wherever great jazz is streamed or sold and at mitchellforeman.com. You can get this show as a podcast, you can listen to past shows, and you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites. It's batonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for its batonrouge.la and WRKF 89.3 FM. I'm Stephanie Riegel. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Mansur's for more business Baton Rouge style on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank, banking with greater momentum at b1bank.com.